The year is 1871. The tiny Spanish pueblo of Catarman sits in the shadow of a volcano on a tiny island in what is now the southern Philippines. Since 1622, Catarman had been a hub for Catholic friars spreading their faith to the indigenous people, coming in the wake of exploratory visits by Legazpi and, some say, Magellan in the preceding century. A quarter millennia had passed in relative peace. But now, trouble was brewing. For 2 months, ominous rumblings had shaken the ground and terrified villagers. Now it was April 30th, and fissures billowing smoke began to form in the ground above the city. In the words of an eyewitness, on the following evening, a frightful detonation made the inhabitants of Catarman jump in terror. They leave their homes to investigate its cause, and immediately they see it engulfed in a frightful cloud of smoke, fire, and stones. A volcano had burst some 334 meters away. They are chased by fire, and water blocks their path to escape death. More than 200 persons perished. 5,000 fled to Bohol and 20,000 more to Mindanao. The volcanic activity reshaped the entire landscape of the small island. A new mountain, dubbed Mount Vulcan, formed above the ruins of the pueblo, and Catarman itself sank into the sea. A town destroyed by lava and fire and now drowned in water. But ghostly remnants still remain. Through the goggles of curious divers, the ancient headstones of Catarman Cemetery sprout from the coral. On higher ground, the massive stone ruins of the church and convent at Bonbon still stand. Around both sites, an archaeological treasure able to unlock the hidden history of the Spanish period may be waiting to be found. And towering above it all, the old volcano and its younger twin survey the hidden remnants of their destructive power. We will see all of this and more as we explore the stunning beauty and mysterious legend of Camiguin. And here we go again. On the move again. For most of the last year, I've been working pretty much nonstop. But with the work that brought me to the Philippines on indefinite hold, I'm looking for maybe a new direction. My plan for the next 4 to 6 weeks is to travel around new parts of this country, the place where I kicked off this show, and the place that I'm beginning to fall in love with again after a long period of estrangement. When you're looking for something in your life, it's a good idea to travel. It will kick loose new ideas and new possibilities. And even when it's difficult, overcoming the challenge helps you find powers within yourself that can lead you to greater adventures, greater challenges, and greater fulfillment in life. So, let's go see what's out there. My trip had been a spur-of-the-moment decision after discovering the place where my friends were letting me stay in Cebu had no running water. The only things I knew about Camiguin were that it was the cheapest flight out that day, that I had a friend on the island who could show me around, and that I'd be able to take a shower. I had no real expectations one way or the other, but the sight of its rolling beaches and tree-covered mountains were the first sign that Camiguin might be a special place. This is nice. It's been a year since I've been in any real kind of nature, and I've been really missing Bali and places like that, so this feels good. After a fast but glorious shower, I set out on foot to have my first look around the island. Oh man, I'm liking this. This is great. Magnificent. Yeah. Oh, it's so good to get back to this. This is just what the doctor ordered. Oh, it's been so long. Oh. This place is really, really great. This is so much better than I expected. On the way home, I ran across the first sign of Camiguin's long religious heritage. In a country full of imposing churches, the electric detailing and pastel colors of the Agoho Catholic Church were uniquely cheerful and welcoming in the twilight, with its recorded sermons seeming to resonate with both man and beast. The next day, however, I would be standing before church walls that were much darker and more somber, belonging to the sole survivor of the 1871 disaster. The ruins of the first church of Banban, which is the place we are, Banban. Camiguin's early history is shrouded in mystery and folklore repeated as fact. There still stands an ancient tower at Ginsaliban on the south side of the island that is said to be a pirate lookout from the time of the Spanish settlement in 1598. It is believed to be part of what was a larger fort complex built by the Spanish, probably, but with records scarce, nobody knows much more than that, though since Ginsaliban in the local language means something like watch for pirates from a watchtower, that much is probably right. Wow. That's bigger than I expected. Coming back to where we are now, the church, bell tower, and convent at Bonbon, an area formerly known as Guyob, has been long said to date from the founding of Catarman in 1622. But recent research has shown that the original church and convent in an area called Punta Pasil was actually adjacent to the sunken cemetery and thus lies with the rest of the city under the sea. Church documents suggest the complex of buildings at Guyob that form these ruins were actually constructed between 1806 and 1816. This is quite a place. Intriguingly, the name Guyob means ruins or destroyed, but apparently the name predates the destruction of the church. If so, what ruins were here before these ruins? I found an intriguing clue on this old map believed to date from the 1700s. It shows the now submerged location of Catarman, then known as Catarman, and then at the current site of the church ruins at Guyob, there is a site marked Fort Alexa, or fort. Does this mean there had been an old fort in Guyob before the church? Or is this a misidentification of the large stone church itself and it actually was built in the 17th century after all? Intriguingly, past archaeological surveys conducted by the National Museum and the University of the Philippines state that the bell tower at Guyob was actually a watchtower for Moro pirates, similar to the tower that was believed to be part of a fort at Ginsaliban that I spoke of earlier. Church documents, however, state the bell tower was built in 1828 by the church. Could it be that the archaeological surveys actually uncovered traces of a previous fort on the church site? That would explain the name Guyob, which suggests there were ruins on the site before the 1800s. A look at the map is suggestive. The church site is at the westernmost point of the island with a clean vantage point in 3 directions and almost exactly on the other side of the island from the ruins at Ginsaliban. Furthermore, the old church site is situated on a cliffside that juts slightly into the sea, a perfect place for a watchtower. And though it's hard to see, the ancient map seems to show just such an outcropping at exactly the place they say a fort may have been, just below the site of Catarman. So, was there an ancient fort scanning the area for pirates even before the church was there? Is that why there's a 200-year discrepancy in the origin stories of the church ruins? I don't know. I'm just a guy on YouTube looking at maps and spinning theories. The authors of the recent book, Surfacing the Untold Stories of Camiguin, believe that an excavation of the Guyob ruins and an underwater exploration near the cemetery could shed light on the lost history of the island. Looking down the steep slope behind the convent to where Catarman had once been, I tried to visualize how it was 200 years ago, with the imposing church complex standing watch on the then prospering town below. Now, it was all long gone, with only these thick walls spared the indignity of not just destruction, but underwater oblivion. It was a short ride to the sunken cemetery monument. This idyllic scene is probably quite similar to how things looked on this hillside in 1871. Below this is an overlook to the cemetery and the site of the lost city. If you aren't a diver, there isn't much to see. To rectify this situation and to memorialize the fallen, the local government built a cross over the site. The massive white cross against the sunset was spectacular and moving. The only contemporaneous image of Catarman we have is this sketch by Don Joaquin Elio that shows the eruption and the buildings on the shoreline. If we superimpose a modern-day photo, we can see the farmland in the rear left of Elio's painting morph into Mount Vulcan. Though it and its parent Mount Hibak are locally called the Old Volcano, Mount Vulcan is actually quite new. It formed on this site from the lava flow in the half-decade that followed the 1871 eruption as Catarman slowly was claimed by the ocean, though it was still visible at low tide and didn't completely submerge until another disastrous eruption hit the island in 1951. Since then, new life has sprung from death. Coral growth has covered over what remains of Catarman, though there seems to be some debris still visible in this Google Earth image from 2010. As a reflection of Catarman's long-standing religious roots, and perhaps as a way to reconcile that faith with the fickle forces of nature that wiped out their town, a hiking trail was built up Mount Vulcan. Well, this is where we do the walking. Mayong buntag po.
Hi vlog.
Yeah, hi vlog, yeah.
You have to logbook first.
So, magkano po?
20 pesos entrance fee.
20 pesos. Meron bang foreigner discount?
Foreigner discount.
We continue onward and upward. Good cardio. On the side of the trail, statues depict the 14 stations of the cross leading up to Christ's crucifixion. Culminating in a gorgeous view of the entire area. Back down at the foot of the volcano, there is yet another vista to be seen, where I took in an endless wash of pure blue framed by the setting sun and the cliff face. It was a moment to pause and acknowledge that I had stumbled into a place with a history of great tragedy, but also of stunning beauty. After our exploration of Catarman, it was time to take stock of the island's interior. We headed up into the mountains to our first destination, Catibawasan Falls.
That's the famous fruit in this island called lanzones.
The lanzones is a rare tropical fruit, and it's said that the rich volcanic soil of Camiguin produces its sweetest variety. When confronted with nature's elemental beauty, sometimes it's better to just stop talking and listen. makes you wet. The falls were stunning and inspiring, and there was still more to see, but it was a pleasure just passing through the rolling green landscape on our way to the next destination. The ardent Hibak Spring Resort is named for and sits on the north slope of the active volcano that has caused so much destruction and also given rise to so much verdant beauty on this island. It's typical of many modest retreats in the Philippines where locals go to recreate in their spare time. My 3-day whirlwind tour of Camiguin was almost over, and I was reluctant to leave. But I needed to get some rest, as the next day I would take the ferry to Mindanao to reconnect with old friends that longtime viewers of this show will remember. And we're off again. We're heading back down to see our friends from Cagayan de Oro, you might remember from the early episode, The CIA Agents. We got quite a journey to get there to what's called a multi-cab, then a boat, and then a bus. And I'm not quite sure what's happening, but we got all day to get there. I regretted having to leave Camiguin. After the chaos of Manila, its laid-back vibe, natural beauty, and healthier food options made this island feel like a place I could stay happily for a long time, provided the volcano behaves itself. But even though I was looking for new directions, I was also just at the beginning of my explorations, and I had a lot of places left to see. Oh, here we go. Everybody wants a piece of me.
Okay, thank you.
So wait, so where's my boat?
The boat is there. There.
Okay,
That's there is
the one that says
Lanzones.
Maayo?
No,
Which one?
this one. They have a Lanzones picture.
Okay.
Okay.
Made it, just barely. Had a little bit of drama. My ticket disappeared. It was weird. It was in my pocket and then it was gone, and then it mysteriously appeared underneath my bags. So think of that what you will, but it's a little panic, but I'm okay now. It's a beautiful morning. When you're taking stock of where you are, it's good to stop and appreciate how far you've come. My moment of panic with the disappearing ticket reminded me of my first time in Mindanao 4 years ago, where, as some of you saw, I'd had similar feelings of panic and fear hitting a strange city for the first time and having a lot go wrong. This time, all I felt was confidence that I could handle whatever came my way and curiosity about what new discoveries lay beyond the next landfall. The Philippines is an amazing country, but it can be daunting the first time you get there. But for me, it's now a comfortable and familiar place. The fear of the unknown no longer holds me back. But while I'm excited to return to Mindanao, this island is special. One of those places you mark down in your mind that you will return to when the time is right. I may leave this place for now, but one day I will come again to Camiguin.